So Elden Ring Nightreign is From Software's next game that is currently being developed right now, and some people have already got their early impressions by participating in their network testing, I believe, and it was only available for like a limited time, and then once the network test was over after a certain period, people have got their impressions and talked about it, and some people were just even looking at like the trailers for Elden Ring Night Rain, and already people are already getting genuinely worried. Like I have seen a lot of people just saying like, "Oh, Elden Ring Night Rain is going to be a cash grab from software. This game is going to suck. This game is going to be a massive disappointment." There's been a lot of controversy, it seems like, surrounding Elden Ring Night Rain, and the game hasn't even been out officially. Now, if people were making this claim for like Activision and the pig slop embarrassment for Call of Duty every single year when that game releases, or when EA releases the embarrassment pig slop pay to win slot machine Madden every single year, if people made that claim for Call of Duty or Madden, then I completely understand why they would be worried. Now, when it comes to From Software and their games and the way that they handle their game releases, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt here because From Software, they don't usually miss with any of their games. I mean, say what you will about the Souls like series and it being quote unquote too hard for some people, which I get it. If you don't like Souls like games, you don't need to play them. I get that. But due to the quality and the amount of content and the amount of fun you can have in FromSoft games, I mean, that is the biggest priority. Is the game fun to play? Is it fun to play solo? Is it fun to play co-op? Is the game just fun in general, you know? Because that seems to be the biggest priority when it comes to FromSoft games, at least from what I'm aware of. So, me personally, I'm not too worried for From Software because usually From Software usually releases banger games and they never really miss. I mean, we have games like Bloodborne, which is literally one of the best Souls-like games of all time. If not, it's one of the best video games probably of all time, next to The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time and Smash Brothers Melee. So I'm not really that worried about From Software. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still want Elden Ring Night Rain to come out and be good, and I want them to get the game right. Don't get me wrong. I do still have a little bit of my worries, and I am going to keep my guard up. Don't get me wrong. But I do want to try to remain optimistic about this game as well, because for all we know, I mean, it could end up as a disappointment and everyone would have saw this coming, or it could surprise a lot of people and be like, holy crap, this game's an actual banger. It's actually really good. So, for this video, I just want to talk about Elden Ring Night Ring and give my thoughts and opinions on this. And I do want to share some screenshots with some of you folks and give my thoughts and opinions as we go along. But before I do show the screenshots, I do want to talk about a couple things that are confirmed for this game. So, first off, what we do know is that there is going to be seamless co op in the game, which is basically the biggest concern that a lot of people have with Souls like games because we all know about those scary red men invaders. Because if you're trying to play co op with a friend in like any Souls like games, you could have the possibility of getting invaded by a random person and they could just ruin your co-op experience over and over. But in this case, with Elden Ring Night Rain, and from what people have told us from the playtesting they have done from their network test, there is seamless co-op and people were having a lot of fun with it, especially because they didn't really have to worry too much about the invaders because there were no such thing in Elden Ring Nightreign. There was no invaders. So that is a positive. I mean, you can just focus on mindless fun and just have a good time in Elden Ring Nightreign and seamless co-op. So once you gather your group of friends, you can actually play the game like normal. Which brings me up to my next point, the co-op. So we know for a fact that this game is going to be solo and co-op. But however, the one thing that baffles me is that I've heard reports and rumors about how the co-op is going to be 3 players required. So like let's say if you and one other friend want to play together, you're gonna be basically queued up with another random person, so you're forced into this group of 3, which I don't know why that would be the case. I think it's because of some balancing issue or whatever, which if that's the case, I get it, but also at the same time, I don't, because if that's gonna be the case, then why not just make it so like you can play 2 players instead of 3 players with like a private match system or something like that? Okay, that's enough of me rambling like a buffoon now. So I'm going to show you the screenshots and I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on what I think about this game even more so we can get a better look of what this is supposed to look like. So let's go over the screenshots. So here we go. So it looks like when we first enter the game, it looks like we're going to be gliding in on these like spirit eagles, Fortnite style, and drop in into an area. And it looks like there's going to be some fire in the background, which I think is like the circle mechanic that people are worried about. And it looks like we got some character classes and it looks like one of them has like some kind of whip, which I think is going to be like the damage dealer. The other looks like a hawk, which looks really cool. I might play as that character personally. And it looks like he's some kind of like paladin or tank, I believe. And we have like an archer over here. I've heard rumors that we also have like some kind of mage caster as well, which looks pretty cool. And then we have like another class character, it looks like some kind of rogue character, I think. And it looks like they're facing some kind of spider boss, which I think is from like a previous Souls like game. But then if we look at the next screenshot, it looks like one of the characters is using some kind of explosive ability. So it looks like we're going to be able to use some special abilities in this game. And also, it looks like from the last screenshot here, if you make it far enough into the game for like a certain area, it looks like you're going to be facing some kind of final boss. Okay, so let's talk about this because there's still a lot more to uncover and discuss here. And there is still a couple more things I do want to talk about for the discussion of this video. So, based off the screenshots, it looks like we're going to be playing Elden Ring Nightreign based on like character classes. So, I don't know if we'll be able to like drip out our characters and make them look fancy like some of the cool kids say, we got to show off our drip and, flex on our enemies looking cool, fashion soul style. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to look fabulous while also beating up the enemies. Or you could be that complete Giga Chad and fight the enemy butt ass naked with a ham sandwich, and you can go up against God that has every single buff in existence while he casts every single debuff on you, and you can just fight him with your bare hands if you really wanted to be that one Giga Chad. But with all seriousness, it looks like we're going to be having some character classes here, so will we be able to like change our armor to have more defense, or will we be able to change some of our weapons? Well, based on what I'm aware of, it sounds like we're going to be able to gather new weapons, but I'm not so sure about the armor though, because I didn't hear that much about it, and it didn't look like from the screenshots, like it didn't seem like anyone was really wearing any different armor. So I don't think we'll be able to change our armor or really change our character's appearance in any way when we first launched the game. So that one is a bit of a head scratcher for me because in like at least from what I'm aware of, all the Souls-like games that I've previously played, Bloodborne, Neo 2, Dark Souls, and Elden Ring, the original Elden Ring at least you could customize your character and make him look like however you want in those games. But for Elden Ring Nightreign, it didn't seem like you could customize your character. It just seemed like you can choose like character classes. So that one I'm a bit iffy about. Speaking about iffy about things, the biggest one people are worried about is like the circle mechanic. So in this next FromSoft game, it seems like there's going to be a circle mechanic for Elden Ring Nightreign, which people are definitely worried about because in the screenshot I showed you with the blue fire in the background, that's going to be the circle. So if you get caught outside it, you might possibly catch on fire or you'll be able to be slowed down if you don't make it into the circle in time. But if you do, then it will keep closing in until you hit a certain area in the game, and you'll be forced to fight, like, I think the big boss of that area. And then, if you manage to survive, then you get to continue the run and the circle resets. Now, the next biggest worry that some people have is it's going to be a rogue like Souls like. Now, that I will say worries me because I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of Souls like games. I mean, I enjoyed Elden Ring and Bloodborne, don't get me wrong, but roguelike games, I have to be in a certain mood. I mean, I play games like Risk of Rain 2 and I've enjoyed that game. But I mean, with rogue-like mechanics thrown into a Souls-like game, that could rub people the wrong way if it's not done correctly. Because this is what it tells me. Like, at the end of every run, will we be able to permanently upgrade our health before the start of each run? Or our magic, or stamina, or our damage? Or how's that gonna work? Because throughout the game, at least for some people that were playtesting, there were sites of graces and you could level up your base stats, but you couldn't choose which stats to level up. So it makes me think, how is this roguelike gonna work? Are there going to be permanent upgrades that we can unlock that benefits us for the start of every run? Or are there going to be permanent upgrades that will help increase our health and our magic or however the permanent buffs work? Like, that's the biggest worry that some people have with this Souls like. And if it's done incorrectly, then people are going to be not happy and they're going to be like, yeah, this is not done properly. So it makes me definitely worried on how From Software is going to implement like the roguelike mechanics into this game. Okay, so now that I've talked enough about the meat and potatoes of Elden Ring Nightreign, I'm going to give my final thoughts and my final impressions of what I think about the game is going to be. So, I think this is going to be a decent game. I mean, it is going to be, I think, like a $40 game, so it's not like the full $70 price tag. So, it's definitely going to be much cheaper than the other games. But I do have my worries and I do have my concerns as well. But I am pretty certain I will get myself a copy of Elden Ring Nightreign, and I will definitely be trying to get my hands on this game as soon as possible. I do, of course, want to try to get a physical copy of the game so I can at least try to preserve it if I can. But of course, before I do jump the gun there, I do want to wait on the reviews and what my friends and what a lot of other people that play this game think about it first before I make a final decision and jump the gun very soon. You know what I'm saying? But I will say I I don't have a lot of doubt that FromSoft is gonna fail, but I do have confidence that FromSoft is gonna definitely succeed in some parts of this game, especially the seamless co-op that a lot of people have been begging for years in Souls-like games. So, as of now, we're just gonna have to play the waiting game here, and we're gonna have to wait and see what From Software is cooking, as the cool kids would say, when they finish their meal for the people to enjoy, if you know what I'm saying. So, as of now, only time will tell to see if From Software will deliver the game that a lot of people are expecting. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what From Software does. I mean, as of now, at least the time of the recording of this video, it is currently March 3rd. So I believe the game comes out in May at some point. I think towards the end of May, actually. So we're like 2 months away from this game, so I would preach a little bit of patience here and see what From Software does. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I am confident that From Software is going to deliver, but then again, maybe I'll be wrong, and then the dark ages of modern gaming will kick in and prove me wrong. So, with this being said, thank you everyone for watching and for listening, and until next time, I'm talking about Elden Ring Nightreign, and I'll see you all later.